Hi, I'm Theron Q. I'm a hijacking. Let's dispense with the formalities first. Number one, if you like this video, please remember to give it a thumb up. If you like the channel and you haven't subscribed already, then please do now. Click on the notification bell, and share the joy of the channel with others. Now, those things having been humbly requested of you, let's move on to why do I have my sunglasses on? Well, my wife says I look cool with them on, but I am indoors. I'm an indoorsman. Anyway, let's say this. I was tired of complaining about the bright light bulb in my eyes. I've been sitting here for a while. Okay, so I put on my sunglasses. This video is about complaining. So, let's talk about complaining. I complained here all day. Not just about the light. Moreover, about this computer and the way it works. This laptop, this Hewlett-Packard Microsoft OS POS pile of shit. I was, severely stressed out. Severely stressed out here. I only got a couple things done on it since I got up, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I got up yesterday. Now, I've been sitting here, and I only got a couple things done. It's just one glitch after another, one freeze up after another. It's really bad. It's really bad. The microprocessor, is so slow, too, that when I move my mouse and I want to do some fine-tuning and creating a thumbnail, fine adjustments to the color or to the positionings of the components, thumbnail image components, it just moves in jerks. I was getting really stressed out. I had to reboot a lot of times. Okay, so I was complaining a lot. I was severely stressed out. I really was. I went back and took a nap a few times, back in bed, and then come back out and continued. The thing is, I complained all day. I complained. Somehow, I think mostly it's a habit. It might, I'm trying to make a point about everybody, for, a good point for us all. And what this has to do with self-mastery, personal evolvement, movement toward a true selfhood, mental discipline, consciousness hijacking, perception deception, and the world in which we live, which seems to be rather antagonistic to those endeavors. Okay. Well, getting stressed out and complaining a lot, there's a lot to complain about. There is. There are a lot of things that can cause duress. Things that are stress. They are stress-laden in themselves. There's tension, there's stress, there are things rubbing against one another. Like what we're trying to do and what's really going on, or the way something should work versus the way it does work. All right. There's a build-up of tension, stress, and then there's how we feel about those things, duress. And then we say we're stressed out, our blood pressure may increase. We might get to the end of our emotional rope for the day. We may become impatient. We may become angry. We may become tense. We may bitch and moan. Okay, that's what I'm getting at with regard to us all. Regardless of to what degree we feel these effects. We all have those kinds of conditions, circumstances, states of affairs in our lives. Okay. So, with me, I think it's mostly a habit because I can't think of a really good thing about doing it. Why would I do it? Why would I complain a lot? I like to. I think I like to. But it doesn't make me feel good to complain a lot. What it does is it really crystallizes into my perceptions of affairs, of my activities and my own self-awareness, more crystallizes my actual emotional and responses to those stressful states of affairs or stress-laden states of affairs. I become more aware of it. It's like when I say it, when I do the complaining out loud, when I vocalize such things, then I'm affirming affirming to myself, yes, affirming at least to myself that stuff's going down. Stuff's going south on me. That I'm feeling this way. That this is the state of affairs. It's not just a feeling anymore. When I complain, I'm affirming it. Psycholinguistically. And to others. Giving them, letting them know with words and how they're said that stuff's difficult for me right now. I'm having trouble. Is this something that others should be hearing? Is it something they want to hear? Just in and of itself, the way I just put it, is this what the kind of thing other people want around them? When it comes to personal atmosphere? Yours? Do they want that personal atmosphere from you? Will it affect how they feel about affairs? Yes. Will it affect how they think about you, at least for now, right now? Yes. Does it tell people that you have a lot of problems going on? Yes. Does it tell people that you complain, whereas there are other people who don't? So, what's that say about you? I mean, after all, this is something that people don't really want to be around much, hearing it, and here you are, one of those who goes ahead and does that when it's not necessary. It says that you're the kind of a person that just can't get through these kinds of conditions without complaining. So there's something about you that's different from people who have similar circumstances. Effectively the same quantity, same quality of stuff. At least the same quantity, right? But there's something that's not the same about you and them. The ones who don't vocalize it much, don't make a big vocal deal out of it, at least not in front of other people. Okay, so there's in front of other people, it's probably a good idea to tone that down, right? Because what it says about you is not a good thing. What would be good about that? What would be desirable about that? What's comfortable about that for other people? What's it say about your emotional stability? What's it say about your emotional control? What's it say about your emotional state of affairs in life? What's it say about how you perceive life to be? What's it say about your idea of the ratio of things to not complain about and things to complain about in life? Then there's the effect it has on you. Like I was saying about me. It affirms to me that this is the way things are. All of those factors I just named, I'm affirming to myself that those indeed are the case. All those different results or factors, things that other people will notice. I'm saying, I'm one of the people noticing me saying this stuff, too. And it's about my perception and so forth. So, yeah, that affects me. Is it a good effect? Only if it's making me feel better to do that. But does it? I have to ask myself here, does it? Not really. I somehow think it does, I think. How else did this become a habit? Yeah, there are a lot of factors, right? Example from parents, example from others, depending on what kind of people I surround myself with at different points in my life. But yeah, my own doing in it, I don't know. Maybe there was a point in my life in which I thought it did me some good. Like it felt good to do it. It just feels good to bitch. It just feels good to complain. It feels good to say this shit. Like, this thing, man, I'm so sick of it. That kind of stuff. I can't, jeez. I'm sick and tired of this. And I'm sick up and fed with that. This really gulls my bladder. You know what so-and-so said to me? On and on and on. I can't stand it when this stuff happens. There's too much of this going on. And so forth. I get the idea that somehow that feels good to do. But I'm not actually feeling better when I've done it. Really. It seems good to do it, but then I don't feel better from it. And it's making me feel worse. Also, in that, due to that other thing, like I'm affirming it to myself. And the more I repeat that, the more I believe it. Well, why would I say it if I didn't believe it in the first place? I'm saying the more I believe it, it becomes a predominant perception of affairs. It becomes more dominant. It becomes more, it gains breadth and depth. It magnifies itself. There, how about that? Its amplitude goes up. It gains power. Which means I'm giving my personal power over to complaining and a complaint-worthy set of life affairs. So, now I can get to a main turning point here, or my real main point that I want to get to. I have lived like this a lot, myself. Okay. Not always, but at different phases in my life, it's become a more active habit than at other times. But people, I've always heard, what's the point in complaining? Or no use complaining about it. Or why so much complaining? Or stop complaining and get things done. Or complaining will do you no good. Things like that, Now, I have taken that to either be just some tongue-in-cheek expression to keep people, toned down, or just saying it as in, like if you say, how are you doing today? And they say, well, no point in complaining. Or, well, yeah, life's hard. Complaining isn't going to do me any good. I've taken that as a form of complaint. Not that the complaint is that there's no point in complaining, but that it's almost like saying, yeah, I'm complaining here about something. I mean, to point out there's no point in complaining, it's like there's so much complaint that I can't ever get it all out. Or in other words, that's my complaint. And about a certain set of affairs, something, like how the day's going, but I'm saying it in a negative way, almost sarcastically. Okay, I've taken it to be that, but really, if you're about at the point that I'm saying I reached in life about that, including what I just said, okay, and you really give this some thought like I did, I was able to move beyond that and realize that no, it really is true that complaining isn't going to do you any good. And who wants to hear it? And it's not going to help. And there's really no good point in it. And it should be abolished from your list of habits in life, or replaced. Yes, with something better, more evolved, more constructively evolved. If you want somebody to know you're having trouble, that's a different thing than what I'm talking about here. Or if you want somebody to know your state of affairs because it's within their need to know, it's within their desire to know, and maybe there's something they can do to give you a hand, and that's going to be part of what you say, or an expected part of their response. That's a different thing. And it doesn't have to sound that doesn't have to sound like a complaint coming from you. It can be a statement of a matter of fact without sounding like bemoaning something. That's different. Now, if you have this habit to do otherwise, to do the former here, that's going to be a difficult change to make. Because, feels good to bitch and moan, right? Not really. It gets it out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get to blow off some steam. Oh, yeah. You know what it does? It stokes the fire. Turns up the heat in the boiler. Even more. Yeah, you get to vent. Yeah, but you know what you do sometimes? When you open the vent, you let in more oxygen. And the fire gets higher too. It gets hotter. The water boils more. This can happen, and that's the risk. And that's usually, even if you get to blow off some steam, you also are affirming the whole situation to yourself, and you're giving it more strength. Yeah, you got to blow off some steam, but that's only on one hand. On the other, there's going to be more steam. More of the kind of thinking is going to enter your mind. In effect, you might as well say to yourself, this shit that's going on that I'm experiencing right now and I'm complaining about is becoming more and more of the way things are about me and in my life and how I act in response, how I'm taking it. Now, look, on the contrary, in contrast with respect to other people, put yourself in this situation now as one of these other people who's listening to this. You've got so-and-so over here who's going through a bunch of circumstances, but he's not complaining, at least not much. You rarely hear him complain, but you do hear him sometimes explaining how things are going, if it's your business to know. As opposed to somebody else. This other guy who's bitching and moaning a lot, just complaining a lot. It's not getting them anything done better. You don't see that it's actually being informative to somebody or to you in such a way that maybe his situation can be improved upon now because of him having vocalized this. You don't see that going on. So what you see is similar or analogous to what you get, at least subconsciously, when you see somebody who has a lot of body tics going on, like always biting their lip, or drumming their fingers, or bouncing their knee up and down, or always fiddling with their hands. These things, or somebody who's slumped over, right? Or somebody who doesn't speak up loud enough, but they have the voice, the vocal cords to do it. What you get out of these things, at least subconsciously, is that this person has a hard time with life. Not that life's giving them a hard time, but they just have a hard time with life. Now, which person do you consider to be the stronger person of those two? Which person do you see, do you take or perceive to be the more reliable person? The more person, the more, the person who is more in control of his own life. The person who is able to get through life without huge tumult and upset going on. That's of his own control. Which person do you just consider to be the better person to be around, communicate with, count on, get cooperation from, and so forth? The one who doesn't show signs, too many signs of life being just too rough for this person. I mean, people who end up being someone who bite their lip all the time, you know, or having a head twitch or whatever it is, or always walking around with their head tilted, you know, or always looking down at the ground, or just slumped over. The person who's complaining a lot. These all end up giving other people the same basic impression about that person. So, it is a good idea, after all, to take literally what other people say about complaining. When they say things like, no use complaining, complaining won't do me any good, so, you know, well, there's no use complaining, there's no sense in complaining about it, or what am I going to do, stand around and complain about it? No, you complain too much, things like that. Take it to be literally the case. Sometimes they say it sarcastically, or they don't say it so that they're really giving that message. So literally, to, you know, or vocalizing that message. And of course, if they say it too much, then they're at risk of complaining about complainers too much. But I think you get my point by now. I hope you do. Probably you already knew it. But maybe you never thought of it in the context in which I'm making this, I'm delivering this point to you. The context here is, you know, this is all against the backdrop of, or under the umbrella of, self-mastery skills. Movement toward true selfhood. Personal evolvement. And away from perception deception and consciousness hijacking. Especially consciousness hijacking here. If affairs such as technological foul-ups, breakdowns, computer freeze-ups, obstacles in your way, too many distractions, all of this stuff, you know, like ads, commercials, jammed up brain waves due to frequency interferences and influences. Now, in this context, this is an important thing to point out. If you are interested in self-mastery, personal involvement, true selfhood, being in control of your own consciousness rather than somebody else being, or other circumstances being, you know, that may be contrived circumstances, socially engineered circumstances just to get in your freaking way and bring you to a point where you just have to complain because it's too much. This is what other people see. They see that You let the bastards get you down. And that's not, others may feel akin to you. They may understand, but how much influence of this do they want from you? And how much do you want from yourself? These are not steps toward, that's not anti-consciousness hijack. It's not one of those. It's not an antidote. It's not, it may be you deceiving your own deception about affairs after a while. You really start crystallizing this entire habit and what it means, what all it represents to yourself. Now, come on, man. If you're interested in the main thrust of my channel here, then this is a new way, a new context in which you've heard this same old message before. And you're probably already aware of it. But I'm bringing it to your attention, the front burner, the front of your mind here, your brain, your cortex, right? Your neocortex, whatever that is. Your frontal lobe. The connection among complaining a lot and what you're probably clicking on my videos to find out about. Methods, techniques, tools for self-mastery, and so forth. Well, then do what it takes to cut back on complaining with that goal in mind, with that awareness in mind. Okay? Then you may experience some result in that direction because that's what you're doing. That's what you're working on. You don't have to consider that, you don't have to put full attention on the notion that you're going to cut back on complaining or that you're not going to complain as much. No, I mean, even that main focus, it has the word complaint in it, complaining. And subconscious mind picks up on that and goes for it, in a sense, All right. Also, it might make you feel a little sissified, a little weak to just have that be your focus. Like, okay, I complain too much. I'm going to change it. Consider it, the main part of this, to be that self-mastery, controlling your own mind, controlling your own consciousness, undeceiving your perception. These things are the main part of this that I'm giving you, that I'm telling you. Now, that might not be a way you've thought about this before. And that's what I'm hoping here, because I want you to hear it first. Here on Tharanki Ramachara. I'm Turf Strongman. You guys, be well.